Hello everyone, welcome to PCS Successful. Woman is the crowning excellence of God's creation. The woman is light, man is shadow. And this famous line is by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. And with this quote of the day, we will now start the current affairs for 28th June 2022. But before we start, like every day, we will take the question of the day. And today's question is, which line marks the boundary of the zone where the sun never sets during June solstice and never rises during December solstice? And the options are A. Antarctic Circle, B. Arctic Circle, C. Tropic of Cancer, D. Tropic of Capricorn. Those who know the answer, comment in the comment box and I will explain this question thoroughly at the end of the video. So stay tuned in the video. Now we will start the current affairs session for today, and the first question for today is, which is the most livable city in the world as per the EIU Global Livability Index? EIU, that is Economist Intelligence Unit Global Livability Index, and the options are A. London, B. Vienna, C. Copenhagen, D. Geneva. And the correct option is option B. Vienna. So let's see the pre-booster for this. So in Vienna, they call it Lebenskund, the art of living. Lebenskund means art of living. And for the third time in the past 5 years, Vienna has captured the top spot in the Global Livability Index, an annual report from the Economist Intelligence Unit. So Global Livability Index, this report is released by Economist Intelligence Unit. And in this report, the top two cities from India are New Delhi at 112th position and Mumbai at 117th position. Now coming to the next question. When is the micro, small and medium sized enterprises MSME Day celebrated? And the options are option A June 18, option B June 21, option C June 27, option D June 30. And the correct option is option C June 27. So the World MSME Day is observed annually on June 27, and theme for this year for MSME Day is Resilience and Rebuilding, MSME for Sustainable Development. And also MSME have emerged as the second largest employment generating sector after agriculture in India. Also it has great contribution in the service sector of India. Now the contribution to the GDP of India for MSME sector is approx 28%. 28%. And this data may be vital for the men's answer writing. 28% contribution to the MSME sector by the MSME sector to the GDP of India, second highest after agriculture sector. Next, which country has launched a solid fuel rocket named Zulzana? And the options are A. Israel, B. Iran, C. Russia, D. South Korea. And the correct option is option B. Iran. Zulzana is launched by Iran. So this rocket has been named after Imam Hussein horse, who was the grandson of Prophet Muhammad. Imam Hussein was grandson of Prophet Muhammad, and after the name of Imam Hussein's horse, this rocket has been named Zulzana. It is first indigenously designed and indigenously manufactured hybrid fuel satellite launch vehicle by Iran, and it is third civilian satellite launch vehicle developed in Iran after Safir and Simorgh. So two other satellite launch vehicle of Iran are Safir and Simorgh. Next, US $600 billion global infrastructure plan has been launched by which of the following blocks? $600 billion global infrastructure plan. And the options are A. BRICS, B. G20, C. G7, D. SAARC. And the correct option is option C. G7. So Germany has the G7 presidency for the 7th time this year. So Germany is the host of G7 summit this year, and it will be the 7th time Germany is hosting the summit. And next year in 2023, Japan will host the G7 summit. And as of 2022, G7 countries make up to 10% of the world population. 10% of the world population, 31% of the global GDP, and 21% of the global carbon dioxide emission. And this data is available on the website of G7. As we know that China and India, the two most populous country of the world, they are not part of G7, yet they contribute to the 31% of the global GDP, as most of the developing country are part of this grouping. Next, so the $600 billion infrastructure initiative to help developing countries tackle climate change. So for what this 600 infrastructure plan is for, so this plan is for the developing countries and to tackle the climate change. So this initiative is also seen as the West response to China massive Belt and Road Initiative, that is BRI. So China is now seen as a threat to the West, most of the Western countries, and the China's aggressive Belt and Road Initiative. Through this initiative, China always debt trap the developing countries. So this, as Biden recently also said in Germany while addressing the summit, that this is not any charity. 600 billion infrastructure plan, this is not any charity. So the money will eventually come to the Western countries. The money will flow to the Western country, and this amount will be totally for the development of the developing nation and to tackle the climate change. And the G7 bloc will receive the amount invested in this project. And now we will know something about the G7. So the G7 is an informal forum of leading industrialized nations, which include Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the UK, and the United States. So previously, this G7 bloc, it was G8, with Russia as part of this bloc. But in 2014, Russia was thrown out of the group after its violation of Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. This year also, Ukraine will virtually take part in the summit. And this year, the 48th summit, this is the 48th summit of G7, and it is held in Schloss Elmau, a nature reserve in the Bavarian Alps, Germany. Bavarian Alps is in Germany. And German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has invited India, Argentina, Indonesia, Senegal, and South Africa. Total 5 countries have been invited to 2022 summit as partner countries. So these 5 countries are Argentina, Indonesia, Senegal, South Africa, and India. And Ukraine will take part virtually in this summit. Coming to the next question, which country has conducted its first successful satellite launch using domestic rocket Nuri? And the options are option A France, option B Japan, option C Brazil, option D South Korea. And the correct answer is South Korea. So South Korea has successfully launched satellites into orbit with its homegrown Nuri rocket. Next, Chennai-based drone startup Garuda Aerospace has partnered with which country's drone solution company to set up first international drone factory? And the options are option A Indonesia, option B Switzerland, option C Malaysia, option D Philippines, option E Myanmar. And the correct option is option C Malaysia. So Chennai-based drone startup Garuda Aerospace has partnered with Malaysian drone solution company to set up first international drone factory in Malaysia. Coming to the next question, recently Union Minister Nitin Gadkari has approved draft GSR notification to introduce Bharat NCAP. What does A stand for in NCAP? And the options are A applied, B assessment, C access, D attention, E application. And the correct option is option B assessment. Now Bharat NCAP, that is New Car Assessment Program, wherein automobiles in India shall be accorded star rating and based upon their performance in crash test. So, this NCAP, New Car Assessment Program, is to accord a star rating based upon the crash test. Crash test. Next. Performance Grading Index for district was released by, and the options are A. Ministry of Education, B. Niti Aayog, C. NGO Pratham, D. Child Rights, and U. So, Performance Grading Index for district is released by Ministry of Education, option A. And this year this PGI index is released for the first time by the Department of School Education and Literacy. So, which department is responsible for this index? The Department of School Education and Literacy under the Ministry of Education. And released this department, Ministry of Education, released the center's first ever performance grading index for districts for 2018-19 and 2019-20. So this index has been grouped in 6 categories. These categories are outcomes, effective classroom transaction, infrastructure facilities and students and entitlements, school safety and child protection, digital learning and governance process. So PGID grades are divided into 10 grades. 10 grades are being allotted to the district according to their performance, and the top grade is Daksh. Those district receive more than 90% in this index, they get the grade Daksh, and then is Utkarsh, then Ati Uttam, then Uttam, then Prachestha 1, Prachestha 2 and Prachestha 3. Now, who has topped this index? So, in a state category, Rajasthan with 24 district in the list has topped in the state category for PGI index, and Rajasthan Sikar district has highest performance. Rajasthan Sikar's highest performance district in school education across India. So, this district has the highest performance. Next. Ambubachi Mela is organized in which state? Options are option A Assam, option B Mizoram, option C Meghalaya and option D Arunachal Pradesh, and the correct option is option A Assam. Assam. So Ambubachi Mela So Ambubachi Mela. So and in we will know more about Ambubachi Mela. So it is an annual Hindu festival that takes place at Kamakhya temple in Guwahati. So where Ambubachi Mela is organized? So it is organized in Kamakhya temple in Guwahati, Assam. So this is annual festival held in middle of June when the Brahmaputra river is at its highest flow during the monsoon season, which also happens to fall within the Assamese month of Ahar. So the monsoon season also falls within the Assamese month of Ahar, and Brahmaputra river is at its peak during this season. Brahmaputra, as we all know, flows through Assam. So let's know more about this Mela. So what happens in this Mela? So there is no idol of the presiding deity, but she is worshipped in the form of yoni like a stone, instead over which a natural spring flows. So Ambubachi Mela is the celebration of the yearly menstruation course of goddess Kamakhya. So why this is celebrated? So it is celebrated as the yearly menstruation course of goddess Kamakhya. This Mela is also known as Amity and Tantric fertility festival. So it is an ancient Hindu Tantric Shakti culture prevalent in the eastern part of India. Also, two types of prasad are distributed in two form, Angodak and Angabastra. So what Angodak is? So Angodak is fluid part of the body, water from the spring of the spring that flows over the structure, and Angabastra. So Angabastra is the cloth covering the body of the red. It is a piece of red cloth that cover the stone yoni during the days of menstruation. Next. Title 9. the law in United States that was recently in news is related to. So the recently Title 9 has completed its 50 years. It's 50 years. So this year marks the 50th anniversary of Title 9, and this Title 9 is related to the gender equality. So gender equality, it is related to gender equality. So the groundbreaking US statute that protects people against the gender discrimination, and what the law states, so no person in the United States shall on the basis of sex be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. Next, now coming to the question of the day. So as per the question, the Arctic Circle is an imaginary line around the Arctic, and Antarctic Circle is the imaginary line around the Antarctic. So this is Antarctic Circle and this is Arctic Circle. So it is defined as the latitude above which the sun does not set on the day of summer solstice. So the sun does not set on the day of summer solstice, and summer solstice falls on 21st June. 21st June. So the sun does not set on this day in Arctic Circle, and the sun never rises during December solstice, that is 22 December. So the sun does not rise on this day, that does not rise on December solstice, that is 22 December, and it does not sets on 21st June. So where does it happen? It happens in the region around Arctic Circle, and opposite happens in the Antarctic Circle. Antarctic Circle. So this is because the Arctic and Antarctic Circle have sunlight for 6 months continuously. So when we talk about 6 months continuously, so it is not exactly 6 months, but at the poles it is nearly about 6 months. But as we go far away from the poles, on the either poles, as we go far away from the poles, the days are not exactly for 6 months and nights are also not exactly for 6 months. It varies as we go away from the poles, but at the poles it is nearly, days are observed for around 6 months and nights are observed around for 6 months. So why this phenomenon takes place? So this phenomenon is due to the tilt of the earth. So we all know the earth is tilted at around the angle of 23.5 degree. So this is the axis around which the earth rotates. So the answer lies in the fact that earth rotates at the axis of 23.5 and earth revolves around the sun. So the revolution of earth around the sun takes 365 days, that is 12 months. 12 months. So we all know these points. Now coming to the next image, we will learn more about this phenomenon, how it takes place. So here we see this is sun, and looking at this image we will observe that due to the tilt of the earth around its axis at 23.5 degree, we observe that the sun rays fall constantly for around 6 months till it completes its half revolution around the sun. So 6 महीने के लिए यहाँ पर क्या होता है कि हम constant sunlight fall करती है between जून solstice टू दिसंबर solstice यहाँ पर फॉल करता है. अब दिसंबर solstice से जब हम जून solstice तक आते हैं तो जो ये सनलाइट है वो इंटायरली फॉल करता है दिस अंटार्कटिक सर्कल के रेंज में. तो इस टाइम में हम यहाँ 6 महीने तक विटनेस करते हैं कांस्टेंट ब्राइटनेस, और डे लाइट हम मैक्सिमम टाइम के लिए विटनेस करते हैं, और बिटवीन जून सॉलिटिस टू दिसंबर सॉलिटिस, यहाँ पर जो आर्कटिक रीजन है वहाँ पर हम विटनेस करते हैं सनलाइट. सो ड्यू टू दिस रीज़न जो अर्थ का जो टिल्ट है और रोटेशन है अपने एक्सिस के ऊपर, उस वजह से ये जो रीजन है ये कांस्टेंट लाइट रिसीव करता है. इस वजह से 21 जून को हम यहाँ पर सनसेट नहीं देखते हैं और सनराइज नहीं देखते हैं दिसंबर सॉलिटिस, दैट इज 22 दिसंबर को. सो ये क्यों हो रहा है? दिस फेनोमेनन मेजरली ऑकर ड्यू टू द tilt of the earth around its axis and the duration it takes to revolve around the sun. So for half duration there is longer days at the Arctic, and for the half duration there is longer day at the Antarctic. Hope you understand this question. Thanks for watching. Thank you.